Star Wars Visions is the most disappointing thing since my son.
Alright guys, so we're going to be talking about Star Wars Visions. It's basically if you took like a traditional Japanese anime and Star Wars, put it together, and you got Star Wars Visions. You know, it's made by actual Japanese studios from Japan making Japanese anime. You know, it's not some American company that's trying to imitate the Japanese anime style and, you know, failing. How Star Wars Visions is, it's not canon, it's not part of the Star Wars universe. Every episode is made by a different studio, and every episode is just a new story. It's just really cool to see the Star Wars universe in anime. I mean, it's something that, you know, people have wanted for a really long time, but, you know, Disney is infamous for how stingy they are with their IP, so it's never really happened before until now. You'll see the first couple episodes and you notice that everything is set in Japan. The architecture is Japan, the clothes are Japanese, even though technically it's in a galaxy far, far away, not in Japan.
Right.
Everything is clearly Japanese influenced.
And yeah, basically, like, if you didn't see, like, the Jedi or the Sith or the lightsabers or the Empire, they took out all those, like, classic, you know, Star Wars imagery. Most of these episodes would just look like medieval Japan, really. Yeah.
You'll see other anime tropes, like you'll see cute humanoid animals, magical crystals. Pretty much every episode is about them looking for freaking kyber crystals. I don't know why they couldn't find a new item, but I guess anime, you really like magical crystals. You have over-the-top lightsaber abilities, like lightsabers that, like, you know, freaking wrap around things, shoot everywhere. Ridiculous, like, over-the-top lightsaber fights. Because it's ridiculous and because it's anime, people will be breathing in space. They'll literally be in space, no helmets, just walking around fighting in space.
Yeah.
And they never explain it.
They don't explain it. They don't mention it at all. You just you watch it and you're supposed to just go with it.
The only person ever seen wearing a helmet in space is a freaking droid. You know, obviously because it's Star Wars, there's a lot of recurring Star Wars themes. Every episode, someone will say, I have a bad feeling about this, which started in,
I think, in the first Star Wars
episode 4 with
Han
Solo.
A bad feeling about this.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Oh, I have a bad feeling about this.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
It's just a reoccurring, like, running joke. It's every single movie someone has to say, I have a bad feeling about this.
Really? So you have a bad feeling about this?
The droids have that same ditzy, clueless personality that, you know, people thought that was funny in Clone Wars.
Roger.
Yeah.
Roger.
If you notice in Star Wars, they always have like those goofy transitions, like the wipes, the circles.
But I think it's cool that, you know, they bring in their Japanese culture, but then they also pay respects to the classic Star Wars tropes.
So the first episode is called The Duel. It's animated by KAMIKAZE DOUGA. So they're the same studio that made the JoJo series intros and most famously, I guess, the Batman Ninja movie. It reminds you a lot of an old Kurosawa movie. It was really cool, probably had the most unique animation out of all the episodes. And I think the coolest part about this episode was freaking umbrella lightsabers. Second episode was this episode called TATOOINE Rhapsody. It's about this band in the Star Wars universe that wants to make it big, and it stars no one other than Joseph Gordon-Levitt
as the main character,
as the main singer dude.
And it was cool because it kind of was a departure from the rest of the series, in that didn't really focus on Sith versus Jedi. Like the first scene shows the main character pulling out a lightsaber, and I was like, oh, here we go again. But then he never uses it for the rest of the show, which is a nice change of pace.
Yeah, it also had Tamora Morrison to come back and play
legend
as Boba. The only two characters in the whole Star Wars universe that ever show up in Star Wars Visions is actually Boba and
Jabba.
Jabba the Hutt.
Hey, if you do watch it, I recommend watching. They do a little song at the end. Watch the Japanese version.
Definitely watch the Japanese
version.
Okay,
sounds like an anime OP.
Third episode was The Twins, made by Studio Trigger. You know, obviously SSS Gridman, Darling in the Franxx,
Little Witch Academia, Kill la Kill, one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, so it's about two twins who are born to the dark side, but eventually they each had to find their own destiny. I feel like out of all the episodes, this was like the biggest homage to the original trilogy. You know, it had like a ship that was outfitted like a Death Star. The two twins were obviously supposed to be foils of Luke and Leia,
yeah.
who were actually played by Neil Patrick Harris and
Alison Brie,
Alison
who
Brie.
I guess because she was also in Weathering with You.
oh really?
As one
I
of the
didn't know
main
that.
characters, yeah.
Japanese cast, the main character is played by Inoki Junya, who was
Itadori
Itadori from Jujutsu Kaisen.
They have a lot of the Jujutsu Kaisen cast in here. So the fourth episode is The Village Bride, which was done by Kinema Citrus. I think that's how you pronounce it. Which is the same studio who did Rising of Shield Hero.
But so the main cast, it featured Seto Asami, who actually played Mai Sakurajima in Bunny Girl Senpai.
Bunny Girl Senpai.
And
Kugisaki, best girl from Jujutsu Kaisen.
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah.
My favorite anime. Jujutsu Kaisen. I personally didn't find it super exciting, but it was decent. Animation was nice.
Least favorite episode?
Maybe.
Which also reminds me of my least favorite episode from The Mandalorian, which
Which is,
coincidentally almost has the same plot.
you know, this village that gets attacked by the Empire. Fifth episode. This was actually my favorite episode. It was The Ninth Jedi, and this was made by Production IG, which did Haikyuu, Kuroko no Basket,
Attack on Titan Junior High.
no. So the English cast actually was pretty star-studded. I think out of all of the episodes, this episode had the biggest names in the cast. So it had Simu Liu, who obviously was Shang-Chi.
The guy from what's that show?
Kim's Convenience.
Kim's Convenience. It's him.
Had Masioka, who was freaking Hero from Heroes. Kumiko Glenn. You had Miko Shinichiro, who played Roy Mustang in the Full Metal Alchemist series, Brotherhood.
Akasaki Chinatsu,
Who played
Alice from Food Wars. Best girl Nibutani from Chunibyo. I already said that Kugisaki was best girl from Jujutsu Kaisen, but I would like to change my answer to Kasumi Miwa, who she voices.
So this story is about a lightsaber smith who's delivering lightsabers to a group of Jedi. It was probably one of the better animated episodes, probably the second best one in my opinion. Honestly, it just felt like
It felt like a Studio Ghibli movie.
It felt like a Ghibli movie.
She went around like doing errands, talking to her dad. Everyone felt like they were Ghibli characters.
Yeah, especially the droids.
The droids, yeah.
Who were for some reason drinking tea.
If you replace them with giant animals, like it would have played out.
Or
the
giant
same.
spirits.
Yeah.
It was as if Rey was actually well written and made as a likable character. A likable character, and then you would have had the character from The Ninth Jedi. Yeah, by far, probably my favorite episode. Yeah. Episode 6 was TOB1, which was made by Science SARU, which was most famous for making Japan Sinks 2020, which was a really traumatizing movie. Obviously, it was heavily influenced by Astro Boy.
Yeah.
You know, it's about a cybernetic droid boy that wants to become a Jedi, whereas Astro Boy, you know, is a robot that wants to be a human. I feel like, in my opinion, TOB1 could be a reference to two things. One is Obi-Wan,
obviously.
and then also in the anime, the creator of Astro Boy, his son is named Tobio. So
Yeah.
obvious homage to Astro Boy. Good episode. It had a
weird.
funky ending. It was really weird, but beautiful animation.
Yeah, he picks up the sword and suddenly he knows how to use it like any Jedi who's trained for decades.
Yeah. Episode 7 was called The Elder. This was once again made by Studio Trigger. It's about a master and a Padawan. They visit this remote village. It stars David Harbour, which obviously Hopper from Stranger Things. Okay, episode 8, Lopen Ocho.
Yeah.
Which probably had the most iconic character from
Yeah.
the series. Had the rabbit girl that you see in the trailers.
Judy Hopps. Yes.
Julia. So this was made by Twin Engine, which was the same people who made Whisker Away. It explains the furries. Yeah. I mean, rabbits.
They do like the animals. Yeah.
Easily one of the best animated episodes of the series.
It was beautiful.
Everything was beautiful. The episode ends when Lop, the rabbit girl, she finds out that the mayor was actually trying to make everyone in the town carnivorous. Because she was tired of giving parking tickets to everyone.
Someone keeps parking their X-Wing on the beach. Lop is actually voiced by the younger sister from All the Boys I Loved Before, so I thought that was significant to mention.
So the last episode was called Akakiri, which was once again a Science Saru episode. Had Jamie Chung, Henry Golding for some reason, George Takei in this episode. And it was, you know, your traditional Japanese story of a wandering samurai trying to overthrow the shogunate.
It was the only episode to involve romance, which was cool. And then it had a little twist ending where, can I say the ending? He turns evil at the end.
So overall, it was a pretty decent series. I didn't love it. It wasn't great.
It was beautifully animated. So I at least you could say if someone dropped the ball, it was not the animation studios.
I would say what, 7? 7 out of 10?
7 out of 10.
6.5 though.
Yeah, no, 7. I don't know if like any of the studios talked to each other before creating their episode, because a lot of them felt the same, you know, good guy versus bad guy, Sith versus Jedi. And I really wish that there were, you know, more episodes that explored the dynamic of the Star Wars galaxy outside of just, you know,
Sith versus Jedi.
Sith versus Jedi.
Every episode didn't have to be an action anime.
Yeah.
Every episode didn't need to be a shonen anime.
Which is why I'm glad with the Tatooine episode where they make the band. I was so glad he didn't pull out the lightsaber again and had a fight.
I mean, it wasn't a great episode, but it was definitely a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Like we could have had like a cyberpunk Star Wars anime, a detective.
Yeah.
You know, a detective Star Wars anime.
Yeah. Like it takes place in like the gritty, you know, underbelly of Coruscant or something. We don't have to see any Jedi or Sith. It just follows a detective.
Or just like a really beautiful romance Star Wars anime.
Yeah.
You know, neither of the characters have to be a Sith or Jedi. They could just be two normal characters living in the Star Wars universe that
fall in love.
Could you imagine if there was an episode of Star Wars Visions that was directed by Makoto Shinkai, the guy who made Your Name?
That would be absolutely beautiful.
Because Star Wars Visions isn't canon, you know, they can keep churning out as much of these episodes as they want to, and nothing has to make sense because nothing's connected.
Well, nothing makes sense already. Could you imagine some small town kid from Tatooine falling in love with some rich girl from Coruscant? You know, that's star-crossed lovers. That would be beautiful. Please make me a handsome Coruscant boy in my next life!
Alright guys, that's it for our video. What did you guys think of Star Wars Visions? Let us know in the comments below.
And may the Force be with you.
And may the Force be with you.